Should the Washington Commanders bring back the old Redskins logo? Alright, let me cut straight to the chase. The Commanders were called the Redskins for 87 years. Something that is considered to be a slur to Native Americans, this team was called for a long time. Wait, pause, before we move any further, I have to say, I am from DC, I do love the Commanders. And let me tell you, it ain't easy loving them. I just wanted to say that in full disclosure. Anyway, the name was of course problematic and people had been bringing that fact up for many decades. It reinforced outdated and negative depictions of Native Americans, and for years, activists, including Native American ones, campaigned for it to be changed. But in 2020, they finally retired the name, mainly because sponsors like FedEx decided to threaten them if they didn't. Money talks, baby. But with the name went the logo, and in recent years, that has kind of become a controversy in itself. The logo actually has a pretty complex backstory. Now, I get it. Like, getting rid of the offensive name, obviously you want to get rid of the offensive logo, right? But is the logo offensive? Here's the thing. The Redskins logo wasn't just some random logo that was slapped together by an intern who Googled Native American chief and put it on a helmet. It was actually an image of a real person, Chief Two Guns White Calf of the Blackfoot tribe. And here's where it gets a little complicated, because despite Native Americans having issue with the name, a lot of them, in particular the Blackfoot tribe, had no issues with the logo. In fact, they saw it as a symbol of pride for their people. It was designed in the early 1970s, and it showed a depiction of Chief Two Guns White Calf wearing a feathered headdress. His likeness wasn't randomly chosen at all. It was chosen to display strength and leadership. And for many Native Americans, and in particular the Blackfoot tribe, it was a dignified portrayal. Unlike the name, the logo had a very different emotional resonance for the people. It wasn't a caricature or a cartoonist mascot, it was a depiction of a respected leader who played a big role in the Blackfoot history. Okay, so who was Chief Two Guns White Calf, and why was he so respected? Chief Two Guns White Calf wasn't just a figurehead for the Blackfoot tribe, he was a pivotal leader in one of the most challenging times in Native American history. He lived through the tail end of the Indian Wars, a time where Native American tribes were being forced onto reservations and losing control of their land. He became a strong advocate for the rights of his people, ensuring that the Blackfoot's land and culture were preserved, even as the United States government pushed for assimilation. But what really made Chief Two Guns White Calf stand out was his political savvy. He was instrumental in negotiating with the US government on behalf of the Blackfoot people. This wasn't just about keeping the peace, he was fighting to retain the tribe's autonomy and ensure that they received the benefits promised by the treaty. His efforts helped secure health care and education for the Blackfoot tribe, all while maintaining their cultural identity. In many ways, he was seen to be the bridge between the old ways of his people and the new ways that were forced on them by colonization. Beyond that, he was also a skilled orator and diplomat. He traveled to Washington, D.C. multiple times to meet with government officials, often wearing traditional Blackfoot attire as a statement of pride and cultural resilience. This made him a symbol not just for his people, but for Native Americans across the United States. And beyond that, he's considered to be the most famous and most photographed Native American of the 20th century. His presence commanded respect, and his image became famous and iconic well before the Redskins used it as their logo. Even after his death in 1934, Chief Two Guns' legacy continued to grow. His image, which is believed to be the inspiration for the Buffalo nickel, is still a symbol of Native American pride and dignity. And it's for this reason why many Blackfoot people want to bring back the logo on the Washington football team, or the Commanders, or whatever we're going to call ourselves next year. For them, Chief Two Guns White Calf wasn't just a leader, but he was a symbol of Native American pride, strength, and resilience. Now, switching gears for a second to the Washington Commanders. I told you I'm a fan of the team. Whether you're a diehard fan or you've only heard about the controversies, there's no denying that the Washington football team is one of the most storied franchises in the NFL. And the reason why I'm saying the Washington football team over and over is mainly because I'm confusing myself between the Commanders and the Redskins. I grew up with the Redskins. Commanders is where we are now. Saying both confuses me sometimes. But also because, from what I hear, the name is going to be changed again within the next year or two. But the real golden era came in the 80s and early 90s. That's when they won the 1982 Super Bowl, 1987 Super Bowl, and 1991 Super Bowl. But they've been asked since then. So, there's that. The shift to becoming the Washington Commanders in 2022 was an effort to move the Commanders into a new era for their team and for the city. But so far, the rebrand hasn't really been a success on or off the field. You see, the franchise has a history of not really doing what's best for the fans, or even what's best for the team. Former team owner Daniel Snyder refused to change the name for many years until he was forced to. But in changing the name, he lacked the nuance to understand the significance of the logo for its people. And by its people, I mean both the fans of the franchise and the Blackfoot people whose likeness is represented. Or whose former chief's likeness is represented, I should say. So, you're just making nobody happy by being blunt and not really understanding the nuances of what people want. And all it would have taken is just sitting down with some Native Americans to understand that they find pride in the logo. So, this is where the campaign to bring back the logo comes into play. As the Commanders continue to move forward, the push to bring back the logo continues to grow, especially among members of the Blackfoot tribe. Native Son, a Native American advocacy group, along with various other Native leaders, argue that the logo was a positive representation of a respected historical figure, and they hope to separate it from the controversy of the old name. In their eyes, the logo provides an opportunity to maintain a connection between the team and Native American history in a way that honors rather than exploits their culture. The conversation about bringing the logo back raises bigger questions about how sports teams can respectfully engage and interact with cultural symbols. Some see this as a chance for the Washington Commanders to embrace a new form of identity, one that acknowledges the significance of Native American contributions without reverting to the harmful past. It's a delicate balance for sure, but if one thing that's clear, the legacy of Chief Two Guns White Caps is not over. Whether his image comes back as a logo or not, his image remains a huge part of Native American history and sports culture forever. And if the old logo does come back, it will be an ironic twist, one where a piece of history comes back not to stir up old controversy, but to heal old wounds and celebrate Native pride. There's a big difference between the old name and the old logo. This is where things get nuanced. The old name, Redskins, was a slur. Plain and simple, it just is. And if you're not a Native American, you can't say that it's not. It commodified Native Americans in a similar way that made them the villains or savages in old cowboy movies. The push to change the name was long overdue, and a lot of people celebrated it when it happened as a victory for decency. But the logo, that's a different story. Now, I can't say that every Native American sees it as a symbol of pride because I'm sure there's a big group that don't. But when it's coming from the people whose likeness the logo depicted, then you kind of have to stop and listen. For the Blackfoot, the logo wasn't a commodification, but a representation. A true-to-life depiction of a historical figure who mattered and who matters. And that's why some Blackfoot leaders are calling for its return. It's not about nostalgia, it's about integrity. So, can they really bring it back? Like, what's the likelihood of the team actually bringing back the old logo? As of now, it's unclear. I will say some fans have warmed up to the new branding of the Commanders and everything like that, but being from DC, I can tell you that most people hate it. It doesn't have a strong sense of identity. The Commanders makes no sense. The logo is just a W. Isn't even like a cool W like the Nationals with the curly W. It's just a plain, boring W. There's even talk in Congress to make the Commanders bring back the logo in order to give them the lease for RFK Stadium, which, for those of you who don't know, the Commanders play outside of D.C. and they want to move back into D.C. That's the likely place that they would move back if they came back into the city. But that place is owned by the federal government, blah, 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 blah. They have to go through Congress, blah, 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 blah. Congress granted the city the lease, but, there's still a lot of legal, political, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, look, bringing back the logo would be fun. I love the old logo. And if it doesn't offend the people that it's representing, then I say bring it back. To be honest, a good chunk of people in DC never let it go away anyway. You still see Chief Two Caps White Guns likeness all over the city on game day. And not game day. And Monday and Tuesday and really every day. You see it. You can't move through the city without seeing it. Look, all I'm saying is there's nuance to everything. And if there's a way to bring back the logo that doesn't offend the people that it represents, then let's do it. Not that I have a say in anything. I'm just a fan.